the moon landing was faked. No, it wasn't. Oh yeah? There's no atmosphere on the moon, so how is a flag waving? What about Area 51 and the aliens? What are they hiding? You heard about the pandemic and 5G, right? Bill Gates wants to depopulate the Earth. What? Yeah. He started COVID along with Fauci. Aliens really run the world. They just loan us their technology as a test. 9/11 was an inside job. The Earth is flat and we live in a dome. Conspiracy theories. Everyone has either heard of one or subtly side-eyes a person peddling them. Regardless if you believe in them or not, according to the American Psychological Association, there are some people and personality types and differing motivations that drive conspiracy theories forward, but they are sure a lot of fun to talk about. In this episode, me and my friends discuss a few theories from the popular Netflix film, They Cloned Tyrone. We also get into reptilians, the Matrix, religion, and we even squeezed in the mini review of the movie You People, starring Eddie Murphy. So, sit back and enjoy. And please, do not take what we say too seriously. In case you do, let me put this disclaimer on this episode. The following commentary you're about to listen to is for entertainment purposes only. We do not mean to offend anyone, and a sense of humor and a slight sense of self-awareness is encouraged by the listening public. Again, no offense. Me and my friends do not own any copyrighted material you may hear in this episode, although I do believe it is protected under the Fair Use Act. Seriously, do not sue us, and in particular, me. Because although I cannot attest to the financial status of my friends, I know for a fact I do not have that type of money. For real. This is just for fun. So, enjoy!
I'm surprised that it's even up because I feel like they exposed a lot. And I'm surprised they even approved that movie. I think it was very interesting and eye-opening for sure. It's in everything. Nothing can be trusted, Lynchy. Nothing.
I know, but the funny thing is that theory has been out since like the 50s and the 60s. Like that whole thing about them putting stuff in our food. Because there was this old, she's an author. Her name was Frances Cress Welsing. She was one of the first people I heard mention that. Like, I think they probably put something in the food because this was a reaction to, remember how like the 50s and 60s was very turbulent? All these protests, whatever, like the world seemed crazy then, you know, with the wars, civil unrest or whatever. And so she's like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they put something in the food, especially like stuff that we like chicken, our drinks, our hair. Yeah, I know. I'm shocked that got greenlit too because it has a whole bunch of people thinking like. So one of the first things I saw, they pulled back and they said keep them smiling. How they advertise in different communities, especially us. Keep them smiling. Like yeah, keep you guys content so you don't cause too much trouble. Like
it's like systematic. Like everything is just. Yeah. That's just like the process of it. I'm so surprised, but I think we don't even know the huge picture, right? I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. So whatever secret, there's something that I heard once when I was like reading into this. They have to show you what they do. Like they have to kind of expose themselves a little bit, like put it in your face. Now it's like up for us to interpret it or not, but it's something they have like a rule for themselves. Like they have to show you what they do. And I think this was like a good little like a teaser, like okay, we put it out there for you guys, but then like not enough people are gonna catch on to like really see like the depth of it. They think it's fake. It's not fake at all.
Well, that's a funny thing. Like that's the literal definition of being woke. I was like, I'm halfway through the movie. I'm like, this got made.
It's crazy because I do look into a lot of this stuff. So a lot of the ideas I kind of already like had or like knew, but every time they would show it, like my jaw would still drop. I'm like, there's no way this is on this mass platform on Netflix. Like, there's no way. I'm like, it's insane. It's insane.
I was just gonna ask you that. Do you think they put it out there to give this sense of, oh, stuff is so far-fetched. There's no way this stuff is actually happening.
I think so. I think it's like a brainwashing technique. It's like desensitizing in a way. And there's people like, there's no way there's underground labs. There's probably something right here, like, who knows? It's probably your local
There's a
Walmart.
rumor that there's an underground city in DC.
They're smart. They're calculated because if they give people like 1% in the news, to the average person who's not into like theories and looking into stuff, they're probably like, oh my gosh, how sad, that's crazy. They don't realize that there's even crazier behind that. It's like they keep it they try to keep you like where you are, definitely to not where you have to dig deeper. You just take whatever you see and you go. For the average person, we need more people on board, Lynchy.
What did you think about the Olympia Black phrase?
Oh my gosh, I was just about to bring that up. I think that's insane. I think I could be wrong, but I think it's called like MK Ultra. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
I don't know. I hope that's the term that I'm using correctly. I hope it's not for something else. But like with celebrities or like just elite people, apparently like they have them kind of like in a trance, or like they call them, I don't know if they call them trainers or just someone that's like always trying to controlling these people with big influence, make sure they're not saying anything that they're not supposed to or exposing too much. So they kind of have them like almost hypnotized, they say, I think. And I think the term for that they use, or like the idea is MK Ultra. I could be wrong, but like they'll use like interviews or whenever the people are on TV talking, and they'll be like, see how they kind of spaced out, and then someone said a word and they came back to where they were saying or something like that. And like I've seen some clips, and
a Manchurian Candidate. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
And there's a remake. It has Denzel Washington in it, but that was awesome.
Was it like along those lines, like something crazy
yes.
like that?
This is a guy. He's running for president. He's running for president. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, check it out.
Wait, what's the name again?
The Manchurian Candidate.
I'm down. I will watch that. I need to expand my horizons here.
Anyway, Olympia Black. She's a sci-fi author, right? And check out some of her titles. My Human Pet. The real person. She's a sci-fi author. Some of her titles are My Human Pet, Reanimation, Test Subjects, Volunteer 4711. That's not a coincidence.
Not at all.
He would use her as a reference. That like you can tell the people behind this, the writers and producers, they did their homework.
Yeah, for sure. And same thing with like the little messages. Like that one has a big connection. I didn't even know that was a real person. I just thought they chose two random names and put them together, or two random words. But remember, like the homeless man, they call him Frog, that would sit outside the gas station, or like little store, and like he always said like he knew everything, and then he would speak in like riddles, but then the riddles like made sense. But I'm like, how does he know everything? It's like who we would least expect that just they catch on. But then I honestly think if someone like him were to go up to somebody and be like, there's this weird thing going on, like I've seen murders, I've seen this, like they wouldn't be believed. Like they wouldn't be trusted. Like I feel like people would be like, oh, he's crazy, or oh, he's on drugs or something. Like, don't believe him. But like, he probably saw the most happening in the neighborhood. I think.
Ashley, like, do you think he was a clone, or do you think they perceived him to be so far gone that they're like, he's not a threat?
That's what I wasn't sure. I didn't know if he was a clone himself, or maybe he just knows a lot of secrets, but I don't know how. Because everything, like from the beginning, he's like, it's in the water, it's in this, straighter is greater, all the stuff that he'd be saying. But I don't know how he knows. I don't know that. I had a couple of different.
Because it seems like not all of them are clones. No. It seemed like once you went against the program, that's when they would body snatch you.
You know what I'm curious about? How they have like these underground labs and all that, and they have all these workers, but it's like, where do the workers come from? Are they just normal people? Like, how do they get that job? And how can they be trusted to not just expose everything? Like, who are they?
Well, you notice that they're white and typically male. And what was with the white people with the afros?
I don't know, but I think at the end, whenever he was talking to his older clone, the geneticist, and he was saying something about how they found like certain genes that are different between like the black race and the white race, and he's trying to like figure some of those differences out. And he said that's how he was explaining how they got stuck with white people with afros, because like there's still certain genes they're trying to like. And I think even Tyrone said something about don't you think it's gonna be weird if black people wake up with blonde hair, blue eyes, because you guys keep mixing around, something like that. But I think the older clone mentioned something about that was a direct product from their trying to like mix, and they can't seem to work it out, like the hair gene with the race.
Because the hair is stubborn. I thought that was like, that's interesting. Her hair is stubborn. Yeah. But some of those facts that come and think about it, because I was doing some research on quote unquote race. I hate that word races. We're not different races. They're finding out there's very little biological difference between black people, white people. There's very little biological difference, even though it's like it's the same pseudoscience that they use to justify keeping black people in captivity and slavery. They're like, oh, well, black people have smaller brains. Black people are less intelligent. Come to find out, it's like that was pseudoscience. It was just a way for them to justify them keeping us, beneath them, because they, they had to be up here and keep us down here or whatever. I thought too, but it's like
fake supported evidence.
But the irony of that is that black people, our genes are the most diverse. Like, because think about it, you see black people with blue eyes, with dark skin, black people with blonde hair, but dark skin. Like our genetics is diverse. For him to turn around and say, well, I'm trying to do this and this and that. I think his ultimate goal was to eventually turn us into white people. Okay.
It really gets you thinking. It gets you thinking about like everything between that, what really the agenda is here. But it could be in the food. It really could be in the water. It's like it doesn't even make you trust like anything that you really eat unless you make it yourself. Let's say you go to like Popeyes or something. The workers at Popeyes, they're just serving chicken, but that chicken might have come from like one of those weird labs. Let's put that compound H. Remember when that thing came from the walkie-talkie or whatever it was? Like that's insane that they just do experiments like that. I really believe that's true.
MK Ultra is a 2022 American psychological thriller film written and directed by an ex-intelligence officer, Joseph Sorrentino. It's based on a true story about the human experimentation program MK Ultra conducted by the CIA in the 1960s. Coincidence? Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Telling lies in America?
America was an experiment. A half-baked idea cooked up by aristocratic ideologues living in mansions built by slaves. And when they checked out, they left us with the bill. A country constantly at war with itself. No common ground, no dialogue, no peace. We're all on the same page, and we're not ripping each other's heads off. And all of this has a chance to work.
That's the history of black folks in a nutshell. Don't make too many waves. Don't complain about too much shit, because it's better than it was 30 years ago. It's better than it was 50 years ago. It's better than it was 60 years ago. Well,
see, I've heard that argument too. I heard the argument like, oh, well, black people should just be grateful. Bump that. The sacrifices our ancestors and stuff made, built in this country or whatever. Exactly. This government owes. I'm sorry.
What do you got to go now? Think about this here now. You got to go to a person like Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, the Iran-Contra affair. We all know what the Iran-Contra affair was about. Hell, they made a movie called Snowfall about it. It was about the dope, Los Angeles, Miami, New York, putting all that crack cocaine in the neighborhoods and stuff like that to fund some shit they wanted to do. But they couldn't outright do it, so what they do? They poison our neighborhoods, poison our brothers and sisters and grandmothers and mothers and brothers and sisters, and pretty much just decimated the black community. The same politician that sat there in 1980-something and said he don't really want his kids going to school with these kind of kids because they're animals.
Biden said that?
Oh, yeah, your boy Biden. Yeah, you better look up on your boy Biden. Look up on your boy Biden. Yeah, the same motherfucker y'all out there voting for, like, oh, but you got a black woman and this and that, this and that.
Listen, hey, that wasn't my rationale. My rationale was anything had to be better than Trump. Anything.
But listen, that's the thing about it. That is the thing about it. People always say, well, anything better than Trump. Trump is a racist. Trump is that. Trump is this. Trump is that. Okay, how you gonna call somebody racist when you done put racist, like you done said racist things, you done push racist legislation for the past 40-some years?
They all shit. They're all shit. They're like, exactly. Nobody that we put in there is gonna be qualified to do this job.
So they all shit. But one thing I did like about Trump wasn't a politician. He's a businessman. So when he got in the office, he
Who
told
has gone
everybody,
bankrupt 5 times?
hey, that's the American way.
So he wasn't a good business.
Hold up. He went bankrupt 5 times, right? If you think about it, our government set it up so you can do shit like that. You can go
I know,
bankrupt.
but
You can go bankrupt and come up.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can.
Our
Trump
government set it up like that,
pushing-
though.
pushing way worse, more toxins. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm appreciative of Trump. I'm appreciative that he did what he did because he woke up a lot of other people that were still asleep. However, that type of toxicity cannot be in there that much longer. It's
Okay.
combustion.
Well, okay, but it's okay to have that same kind of toxicity for the past 56 years as long as it's
No,
controlled
nah.
toxicity.
Wait a minute, but there is a subtle difference. There is a subtle difference, and I agree with y'all about ain't no shit. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? No shit. But there is a such thing called redemption.
Thank you. That part.
And I'm gonna tell you this. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you this. I could have did this, that, and the third. But if I come to terms with what I do, what that mean?
What does it mean?
What
I was
that
gonna ask-
mean?
I was gonna ask you.
I've evolved from the things that I've done.
Okay,
So
you trying to tell
what
me-
does that put me? Does that still put me in the pig pen doing those type of things?
But listen,
No,
if
it
you
don't.
still-
That's
if you
the
still
difference
messing with the
between
pig,
Biden and
if you
Trump,
still-
though.
Okay, if you still messing with the pig, if you
Mm-hmm.
still messing with that pig, you still in the pig pen. Damn your redemption, you still messing with the same pig.
But what if you ain't messing with the pig?
How about since we voted him in, we voted him in as a people.
Nah, I know, that's y'all.
Kelly say,
3 of the 4 of
nah,
us
you
did.
on your own.
3 of the 4. 75% of the panel did.
Huh?
yeah.
75%.
That's all fine and good. That's all fine and good.
Let's give it a chance to see if this man has evolved in any type. If he hasn't,
Yeah. Let's see. Because I agree with you.
Okay,
Now
hold on,
he
hold
did.
on.
Okay.
So y'all talking about giving this man a chance, right? To see if he would
We
change
ain't got
his
no
ways,
choice.
right? Huh?
We ain't got no choice.
Yeah, he in the
He there. So it's up to him. But he know most of the votes based on his redemption.
What redemption?
So he know
What
he
redemption?
gonna
This
have
man
to
was still telling
prove,
black folks.
or
This man was still,
he gonna have to
telling black
prove
folks.
something though. But he the only one in there that gonna have to prove something though. He gonna have to.
You know, the power of the
This
people
man said, "You're
gonna
not
say you
black."
out of that.
Listen. This man said,
They gonna tear his
"You're-
ass up.
This man said, "You're not black if you don't vote for me. You're not black." Listen,
What?
this man said, "You're not
I'm
black
glad
if you
I
don't vote for me."
missed all this.
This man said, "You're not black. You're not a true black if you don't vote for me."
Yeah.
This is what this man said. Let's see.
Yeah, he
That's
said
just like, listen. I
You're
see how
taking it out
y'all
of context,
crucify-
though.
listen.
Right. That's what
Okay,
I'm
now we
saying.
Take it out of context.
Okay, take this out of context. I got my hot sauce in my purse. It's the same shit.
That's pandering. That's pandering. That's pandering.
But listen, Killer, it's the same thing though. Hillary said it. Black women was like, "Hey, hold up, Hillary, you cool and all, but you know, you keep your damn hot sauce in your purse." You dig what I'm saying?
You are now listening to the Conversation Piece podcast.
What do you think about the hair care products? Because there's a theory that, like for instance, I had to have a hysterectomy in 2013, right? The oncologist is like, yeah, he's like, for some reason, I noticed that Black women have more fibroid issues than anybody else. And you know me, I ask questions. I'm like, okay, so why is that? He's like, well, think of it as a spectrum. He's like, because I'm very careful with the wording he was using. He's like, for some reason, Black women seem to be on the higher spectrum of it, and then Asians are on the lower end, and then Latinas and Caucasians in the middle. I'm like, okay, so is it linked to diet? Because I don't have the quote unquote stereotypical Black diet. He's like, no, it's not diet. I'm like, well, what is it? He's like, well, we don't really know right now, right? Fast forward like 10 years later, this is just a theory. They think it's linked to the relaxers that black women put in their hair. Just think about it. We do this at a young age because some of us, our hair is very kinky, right? Or to quote unquote relax the curl. It has all kind of chemicals in it because every black woman in my inner circle, we've all had hysterectomies. All of us. And think about it. It's all, it's weird. And it's all, and if you think about it, if you're going with this conspiratorial theory, it all lies in with controlling the birth rate of black women. That's a way to do it, right? And they've always experimented on black women. Always. Since, our ancestors first got to this country. They've always done experiments on black women. And
right, I think they know what populations to go after because a lot of people will overlook things. They don't look. Had it been another population, it'd be all over the news. It'd be like, oh, scientists are trying to find a link. I think drugs were planted in certain neighborhoods to keep they try to keep everyone to keep a certain perspective, but really I think it's experimental. And then I think that
they had to come out and admit that not too long ago, especially the CIA.
At one point, the guy was saying he's like, even from the start, America was an experiment, and then he was explaining how some people lived in mansions while they had slaves and everything like that. And I'm like, who is the? I looked up the director, the guy, and I think he was young, and he was just saying oh, this just came to mind. This it would just seem so lighthearted, but I'm like, no, it's deep rooted in something.
What do you think about the definition of A001?
I didn't really get that.
Okay, when I first saw it, I say, okay, A typically stands for alpha, which means first. So when I looked up in Urban Dictionary, it's the first entry in an index you're working on. It's oh, what are you working on? And then come to find out Fontaine is the clone of the geneticist. Mm-hmm. And it's that plot twist blew my mind. How? Because I'm thinking the whole time the man behind the curtain is a white man, right? It's oh, interesting plot twist.
That took me off guard for sure. There's just I feel like there's so many more deeper meanings too that I just did. Remember he had the guys standing in the wall, and he was just trying to say it's not gonna happen anytime soon, but over generations and stuff, how they're trying to make everyone more alike or whatever.
I saw the progression of them coming to a lighter shade because he said something that blew my mind. He said assimilation is better than annihilation. I'm like, wow, because that's what they push for that, right? Oh, we want you, especially with immigrants. Oh, they need to come here and assimilate instead of bringing their own distinct culture over here, which just adds to the flavor of the country. It's just, I saw that, and I think on the lighter end, he looked white. So I'm thinking, is he trying to turn black people eventually into white people?
Right, or maybe find a common ground. I remember there was this thing years ago. This was when I first got on the internet and all that stuff. There's this picture of a girl that went around. She was light skinned, but had lighter eyes, but slightly curly hair. Have you ever seen that image? No, and then the thing was, it was just by the year, let's just say 2050, they're everyone's gonna look like her.
Oh yeah.
You've seen that, right?
That's the thing. Okay, check this out, right? So, there's a faction in this country that's the worst fear, is that if we keep mixing, everyone's gonna look the same and look less white. White people are going to be the minority in this country, and black and brown people are going to be the majority. And that scares the crap out of them. It's because there's this sense that, oh my God, if another group other than a white male is running the country, what are they going to do to us? That's always been their fear. And so
you hear a lot of white supremacist rallies and stuff like that. They always say it's because we're going to be the minority now. We're going to be the lesser. And it's always their main fear. That's.
You listen to what they say and then watch how they move. They're oh, we're losing the country. We're losing this. We're losing that. You never had it to begin with. You stole it from the Indians. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking?
How it comes around.
On karma.
Assimilation is better than annihilation.
I think this is slowly but surely right steps in the right direction to slowly open more minds of people, to get them thinking. I've seen a lot of TikToks, YouTube videos where people are talking to others about it. It's not gonna happen overnight, but hopefully this continues to happen where more people wake up and look into things, because the way we're being controlled and experimented on probably every day is probably, I don't know, we wouldn't even believe it probably. Everything's a lie. Everything's a lie. What about your thoughts, Lynchy?
It is an illusion, right?
Yeah. Is anything real, or is everything an experiment?
I know this life is a test. This is definitely a test. In dealing with perspectives, check this out. I am not a victim in the present. Even though the past tries to grip me, break the chains that enslave your mind and free your body and soul.
Instead of demographics, we need to think psychographically. You know what I'm saying? For real, for real. Like we were talking about demographics earlier. Choppy, it don't matter where you at. If the mind thinking and operating right and clear, watch out. That's how you get in somebody's head. You know, because that's what it takes. That's what they're doing. They're using the mind. If you manipulate the mind, shit, you can do anything.
I'm gonna say something. Y'all, I know both of y'all gonna look at me like I'm crazy when I say this, but Christianity, Islam, Judaism wasn't meant for black people.
What?
It wasn't meant for us.
Islam wasn't meant for black people either?
Islam.
Are you saying knowledge, period?
It's not about the knowledge. Islam, Christianity, Judaism was not meant for black people.
Explain.
Explain. I'm gonna explain. Killer, you know that. Well, listen to this now. History has shown me. All right. History has shown me. I read the Quran one day, and in the Quran it says something about treating your slaves, how to treat your slaves. And I was like, in the Bible, the Old Testament, it was saying something about treating your slaves. So I was like, wait. It was thinking.
It could be another word, but that interpreter put slave or one who your right hand possesses. Because there's a lot within the Arabic where you're at the behest of the translator. If the translator has an agenda, which some of them do, then as a non-Arabic speaker, you're going to realize, like, I can see your point, like slave. But we also understand there's a lot of history in the Quran too.
Okay, exactly. So the Arab man had something to do with the slave trade. The Europeans had something to do with the slave trade. And all the books that the Arab, Islam, the Quran, the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, all had something to say about how to treat the one that you possess. It's like, so you trying to tell me that God created us, some of us to be slaves and some of us not to be slaves? Then I ask myself this question: what was black people's religion before all of this? Then it hit me. Our religion was nature, not worshiping the sky and stuff like that. Even when the slaves came to America, how did the slaves worship? They went into the woods, drums and stuff like that. That's where our rhythm, that's where we get our energy from the sun. We hear a rhythm, how we move and stuff like that. So I started looking, I started thinking. We connected to the earth, the planet. Look where Africa sits at. It's been sitting in the same place, even when all the continents connected all as one. Africa was the center of it. Everything was connected to Africa pretty much, and it's separated from Africa. But Africa been sitting in the same spot. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. It's connected to the earth. It's connected to Mother Earth. Us as black people, we were connected to that with our hair, our skin, the way we communicated with each other, the knowledge that we possessed. All that started with us before everything else. And I feel like one of the biggest divides of black people is religion.
It is.
Well, that's a divide. A lot of people aren't consensus with that, but I would push back and say that it's not the religion, it's the people practicing the religion. If you're a Muslim, a Jewish person, or a Christian, and you're not adhering, again, we have to remember, the word's been changed from its original intent. And again, if you have a certain agenda, you're going to change it to fit your agenda. If you have an evil agenda, you're going to put things in there that Allah didn't even intend to put in there. It's like, we can get away with this all of a sudden? Okay.
Interpret it the way you want to interpret it for your agenda.
Because the Quran, think about pre-Islamic Arabia. Women were considered, we weren't even considered, again, we weren't considered people. Islam came and liberated the woman. Islam says, you should free your slave. Free those people. The only one you're a slave to is the creator. That's it. Mm-hmm. Allah speaks to that. Mm-hmm. And so, again, I'll push back. It's not religion. It's people practicing their religion. They're practicing it not in their pure form. They're practicing the way they want to practice it, which is completely a 180 from what it was.
Exactly. It's not the people themselves. It's the people to do in the name of religion. It ain't the money. It ain't the money itself. It's what the people do
with your money.
You are now listening to the Conversation Piece Podcast.
Force yourself to find something beautiful in everything you do, and you will only do beautiful things. Mir Ezra. Okay, the conversation they had at dinner about the slave trade and Jews profiting off the slave trade. That's something to me that could have went somewhere. They were educating, but they didn't flesh it out. It just like abruptly stopped. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Like he had I don't know if this was just a quick money grab or if this just a well not thought out lazy effort, but they had the opportunity to really educate and they failed. To me, they failed.
Maybe that wasn't their intention to educate. Maybe it was their intention to.
But I feel like we're living in a time where, we've been acting like buffoons for too long. We're trying to take shape of our narrative, but in taking shape of your narrative, you do have to clear some stuff up and educate people because, as we can see, we're trying to find out who we are, and they don't know who we are.
Right. They don't know who they is. Muslims do not eat pork. Everybody know that. Okay. Could that be some sort of projection of what maybe some people want to try it? You know what I'm saying? Like from an angle of obviously she has a weakness for bacon. A lot of America, like a lot of people, I know you don't eat pork, but you know what I'm saying? Like people who eat pork, they have a weakness for bacon.
Right.
And that just come with it. So I'm wondering if that could have been like a scenario kind of throwing that thought out there.
You can also look at it where it's also like a joke within a joke because I've seen other shows and other movies where it's almost like a punchline. It's like, oh, y'all can't eat pork. It's almost like...
See, that's not funny.
To me, it's not funny.
I don't think that's funny at all.
Right.
Like, I don't even think that's a joke.
Like Chris Rock, one of Chris Rock's famous joke, he's like, I forgot, he was comparing religions or whatever. And he's like, yeah, God, I killed a bunch of kids, but I ate right,
Okay, now that...
Is that funny? Yeah, I understand the nuance, but again, right? So I'm looking at it from my lived experience. Do you know how many people have tried to tempt me with pork? You know what I mean?
Are you serious?
I'm dead ass serious. It's like I don't eat that. Well, why not? We don't eat it, and it's like I was like, and then when you say, well, you shouldn't be eating it either, they look at you sideways like, huh? It's like, yeah, that was in the Bible. They probably took it out by now, but that was in the
Bible. You can tell some scenes are a little
I watched it
uncomfortable.
twice to make sure that my initial bias against it wasn't unfounded. It was founded.
Yeah.
God.
I didn't again until we saw Jonah Hill.
Oh, Jonah Hill, yeah.
He did a documentary on his psychotherapist. And it was interesting. It was really interesting. It's called Slack or whatever. Anyway. So just watching him and listening to him and the things, I was like, that was not a good matchup.
Right.
With London. You think it does. I will agree with you. I felt like that relationship, especially in some scenes, like kissing or anything like that, it wasn't as natural as it could have been, as good as actors they are. I don't know if she didn't want to be in some sort of light since Nipsey. I don't know if she didn't want to be in some... I could tell.
Okay, then why didn't she back out the project?
Yeah, because I can't tell.
It had a lot to do with character development. It had a lot to do with how this relationship it was just weird. It was like it's a weird development.
But I honestly think that they only did it because Black and what is it, Jewish?
Yeah.
All right, period.
Well, yeah, they made a scenario. That's not the whole movie. They made scenarios.
Yeah, but it weren't fleshed out. I'm saying it was like, from a writer's perspective, I'm like, this sucks. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep it G. And if they're black Muslims, it's like, do y'all know any black Muslims? And are we seen as radical Farrakhan loving? Because that is far from the truth. I'm Muslim and I don't subscribe to Farrakhan's thinking. Never have, never will. That's not even my, you know what I'm saying? Just, and Eddie Murphy was wasted in that movie. Eddie Murphy's hilarious. He was wasted. It's like, can he be Eddie? In the first scene we see
do you think he wasn't Eddie? He seemed like
he was subdued.
He seemed like in this movie he seemed like he was the closest we will find to him.
Yeah.
On film today.
Share.
Like to him.
Yeah.
Today. Because it seemed like in every movie he do, so it had to be his movie. But it seemed like he was getting some shit off his chest to me.
Yeah.
Like
okay, the first scene we see him, he walks in with Hampton was murdered.
Yes.
Okay, so we already know. Okay, he's militant.
Yeah.
But then he sits down and has this observation about he's the darkest person in there. Like, what? Come on, how ignorant is that? Come on. It's like, okay, are you saying that? Yeah, society, we're becoming more open and we're dating outside but it's just like some of the jokes there were stereotypical and they fell flat and just they didn't. You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
Yeah, I think some of the stuff though he was hitting at of like that establishment used to be something else and now it's like a
gentrification. Yeah, I understand that part. Yeah,
whatever it is, and then like our hair, because he made a comment on hair too.
Yeah, talking about he has a nephew's hair in here.
Yeah,
like, what is that?
Everybody else had the curly,
that wavy hair.
Wavy hair.
It's like what?
Yeah,
yeah. Mike Epps was typical. I love Mike Epps' character. I just felt like I felt like Mike Epps' character was like Uncle Junebug, or Junebug. Not quite our uncle, but Junebug, maybe our cousin. Junebug. That's gonna be him. It don't matter where I'm at, I'm gonna be me. But I am gonna call you out because you're a bit wrong. Like the way he was treating Jonah's character. He called him out on that car ride. He was like, And
then Jonah's character, for someone who's supposed to be about the culture and supposed to be down, why was he so awkward around black people? Make it make sense to me. He was just awkward everywhere. It's like,
yeah, it did. Well, okay. It did. I understand where you're coming from. And was it that everyone else felt awkward that he was there? So it threw awkwardness into the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying?
She's talking about when black people hang out and a white person come in. The energy changes for a second. Yeah, because it's like almost like it's like, what you doing here?
Like,
it's always like, what you doing here?
Yeah, who that? Who that? Oh, okay. But then maybe that's just enough for him to be like, hi. I have black friends, you know how they do. Not everybody, I shouldn't say that. But in my experience.
All right.
Y'all, don't do that. Do they know? I wonder if they ever really had people to tell them.
Well, look at his parents. The parents were...
You talking about in general?
Oh, yeah, in general. But his mom...
Yes.
And daddy. Yeah. Daddy talking about
we're just
exhibit. Yeah, talking about exhibit. Yeah, he
was like running, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good show.
Yeah, maybe that's their way of connecting or trying to connect and they don't know how. Maybe right. I get it.
That's
but
not
maybe,
how.
but maybe
just
they don't know.
Just
it's a lot of things they don't know.
No, I'm saying just talk.
They may not know that.
But this is the thing, right? So we want to know how they feel about certain things, but they won't open up. Like I know white people who they won't open up. I know one that will, and she's extremely apologetic all the time. It's like, okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. but they don't know how to. They haven't had to have the same conversations we've had.
No.
So
at all.
How do you expect them to get it then?
Okay, wait a minute. What about the white people that grew up poor?
That's different.
Totally different.
Or grew up in the hood.
That's different. You can tell white people who grew up around us.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh no, that's one.
Yeah. Hey Sam. I see. Yeah.
Because his energy ain't gonna be.
No, because he gonna be comfortable. He gonna be
him.
And he's gonna be him.
Hey, how you doing? If you want to share your thoughts and opinions on this episode, you can reach me at podcasters.spotify.com/POD/show/AQUILA-LYNCH. Well, I know, that sounds like a lot of typing, right? But Spotify has this new feature where you can leave feedback. I would love to hear from you all, and you never know, I may include it in a future episode. Okay? Sound good? Peace.
No, I don't know. They say that's something when they talking about a reptilian race lived on Earth before humans.
Yeah, I mean they immediately go to reptilian. They don't say nothing else about it. They don't say cheetahs. They don't say.
Yeah, you look on YouTube and there's a lot of talk about
immediate. Yes, immediate. They be like, "Boy, them reptilians."
And, but we're in a petri dish basically.
Yeah.
I feel like all this is an experiment.
A baby Truman show.
Mix this with that, and mix a little bit of that with this, and what this.
See what we'll get.
I feel like we're in like the 7th version of the Matrix. But I honestly, I got a whole new look at that movie. Because the sequels were just money-making action movies, but the first one, it's in the movie and the basic premises of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what's going on right now. I feel like that's exactly what's going on now. It's like a system is still trying to get it right. I tried and giving them everything they wanted. That didn't work. They ain't accept that. I tried making everything difficult. They ain't accept that. I tried it in the middle. Yeah, they ain't accept that. So and if you look at it, I mean, like the flood story. Okay, look, with Noah, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was supposed to go. He was gonna start over again. I mean, if you even look at that story, the Noah story, well, we're in a petri dish, an ant farm, and they watching us, or whoever's watching us, or guys watching us to see what the hell we do. Why are you here? Why create us? Just to have something to love?
I think it's bigger than that. It is bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it is.
But it's up to us to decide with our free will to find that out. And to be willing to act within that purpose, to find out what that is.
Most people won't be, and they think or they act like they got free will, but won't even ask the question about, they just take what it is as that's it. Like, it could be so much more than that, go so much further than that, have so much deeper meaning than that, but people stop right there where they are. And we're like, no, this is what my mama taught me. Her grandma, her mama taught her that this is what it is, and it's just locked in. Like it's bigger than what we know. Mm-hmm. Like you're not gonna tell me that when they were doing all this and came up with this thousands of years ago, that they got it all right then and there, and there's nothing else to learn and know. No, they knew what they knew at that time. Now you take that what they got and you stand on it by what you know. And what you can figure out, and what you can discern, and then that you transfer that to the next 1,000 years from now. There still is, and they take that and add on to that, and then they take off what was wrong, what they done found out to be wrong, and then add on some more right. It's not. The story is not complete, but people act like it is. There's more to learn. facts and stuff that's really behind some of these stories, but you know, you just gotta discern that. Like at this time, people then didn't know what we know now. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Something coming out of the sky then was godlike. Something out of the sky now is an airplane crash for us.
When you gonna join us on the podcast?
Whenever.
Okay. We just had a podcast just now. A piece of it.
If you live off a man's compliments, you will die from his criticism. Cornelius Lindsay. Here's a preview of the next episode. In the first half of the year 2023, Billboard and Vibe released their list of the top 50 rappers of all time in honor of the 50th anniversary in the genre of hip-hop. But as you can imagine, this had some people going, "How, Sway?" Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Conversation Piece Podcast. I am your humble host, Akila, requesting that you join me again. So, until then, be safe, love, and value yourself so that you can love and value others. I bid you adieu with the greeting, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you.